Good morning, students. In Dynamics of Machinery, continue chapter number 3, Balancing. In previous session, we have seen about the forces which are applying on the 4-bar chain mechanism and how we balance that 4-bar chain mechanism through the balancing system that we have discussed, and also seen there is a slider crank mechanism, and if slider crank mechanism working, then how many forces are applicable and how we can balance that system while they operate. Okay, in this session we see about the balancing of locomotives and effects of partial balancing in locomotives. So locomotives are of two types, coupled and uncoupled. If two or more pairs of wheels are coupled together to increase the adhesive force between the wheels and the track, it is called a coupled locomotive. Otherwise, it is an uncoupled locomotive. Locomotives usually have two cylinders. If the cylinder are mounted between the wheels, it is called the inside cylinder locomotive. And if the cylinders are outside the wheels, it is an the outside cylinder locomotive. The cranks of the two cylinders are set at a 90-degree to each other so that the engine can be started easily after the stopping in any position. And balance the masses are placed on the wheels in both the types. So if the cylinders are mounted on the wheels, then it is called as the inside cylinder locomotive, and if the cylinders are outside the wheels, it is the outside cylinder locomotives. So the balance masses are placed on the wheels in the both these types. Okay, in the coupled locomotives, wheels are coupled by the connecting their crank pins with coupling rods. As the coupling rod revolves with the crank pin, its proportionate mass can be considered as a revolving mass, which can be completely balanced. Thus, whereas in coupled locomotives, there are 4 planes for the consideration, 2 of the cylinders and 2 of the driving wheels. In coupled locomotives, there are 6 planes and 2 of cylinders, 2 of coupling rods and 2 of the wheels. The planes which contain the coupling rod masses lie outside the planes that contain the balance called the counter masses. Okay, that also we have discussed in previous sessions. Also, in case of coupled locomotives, the mass required to balance the reciprocating parts is distributed among all the wheels which are the coupled. Okay, so how to balance the locomotives and how we can balance the locomotive, and how the mass is diversified on that locomotives, and what is the construction feature of locomotives. According to, we can study the balancing system of the locomotives. So if partially balanced or there is an unbalanced system, so there is a partial balancing systems in locomotives, then what are the effects are producing? We discuss about that. So basically there are 3 effects: hammer blow, variation of tractive force, and third is the swaying couple. So hammer blow is the maximum vertical unbalanced force caused by the mass provided to balance the reciprocating masses. Its value is the mr omega square. Thus it varies at the square of the speed, and at the high speeds the force of the hammer blow could exceed the static load on the wheels, and the wheels can be lifted off the rail when the direction of the hammer blow will be the vertically upward. Okay, so that is they call the hammer blow, and it is the maximum vertical unbalanced force. And why this produced? Because of the mass provided to balance the reciprocating masses. Okay, and its value is the mr omega square. Second is the variation of tractive force. So variation in the tractive force, or is called the effort of an engine, is caused by the unbalanced portion of the primary force which acts along the line of stroke of the locomotive engine. If the C is the fraction of the reciprocating mass, that is the balanced, then unbalanced primary force for cylinder 1 is equal to 1 minus C mr omega square cos theta, and unbalanced primary force for cylinder 2 is equal to 1 minus C mr omega square cos 90 plus theta. So if they simplified, that is a minus 1 by C mr omega square sine theta for the unbalanced primary force for the cylinder 2. We have already discussed what is the primary force and what is the secondary force in that particular system while the force are applying on that particular system. So total unbalanced primary force, or the variation in the tractive force, is equal to minus 1 by C mr omega square cos theta minus sin theta. This is the maximum when cos theta minus sin theta is the maximum. So when the d by d theta cos theta minus sin theta is equal to 0, by simplification of that, minus sin theta minus cos theta is equal to 0, sin theta is equal to minus cos theta, then the tan theta is equal to minus 1. So theta is that considering as the 135 degree or 315 degree. So when the theta is equal to 135 degree while we consider, then the maximum variation in tractive force is equal to 1 minus C mr omega square by putting the value of theta, that the cos 135 and minus sin 135. Then the simplification of that, 1 minus C mr omega square in bracket 1 by under root 2 minus 1 by under root 2. So that is the minus root 2 1 minus C mr omega square. And while we consider the theta is equal to 315 degree, so maximum variation in tractive force is the 1 minus C mr omega square cos 315 degree minus sin 315 degree, then the 1 minus C mr omega square 1 by root 2 plus 1 by root 2, and simplification of that root 2 1 minus C mr omega square. So the maximum variation, if we consider, that is the plus or minus root 2 1 minus C mr omega square. So that is the variation of tractive force while applying that unbalanced system in the locomotives. Third effect we can see, that is a swaying couple. So unbalanced primary forces along the lines of stroke are separated by a distance. Here we see that is a distance L apart, and thus to constitute a couple as shown in diagram. This is the, if the L 1 minus C mr omega square cos 90 plus theta, and here is the 1 minus C mr omega square cos theta, and that is the distance is L. So half distance if you consider, that is a L by 2. So this tends to make the leading wheels sway from the side to side. So swaying couple, what is this? So swaying couple is equal to moments of forces about the engine center line. So 1 minus C mr omega square cos theta L by 2 and minus 1 by C mr omega square cos 90 plus theta L by 2. So by simplification of that, 1 minus C mr omega square cos theta plus sin theta L by 2. This is maximum when the cos theta plus sin theta is maximum. Okay. So when d by d theta cos theta plus sin theta is equal to 0, minus sin theta plus cos theta is equal to 0. So sin theta is equal to cos theta, tan theta is equal to 1. So theta is equal to 45 degree or 225 degree. When the theta is equal to 45 degree, maximum swaying couple is equal to 1 by root 2 1 minus C mr omega square L. And while we consider theta is equal to 225 degree, maximum swaying couple is equal to minus 1 by root 2 1 minus C mr omega square L, and thus the maximum swaying couple if we consider, that is a plus or minus 1 by root 2 1 minus C mr omega square L. So thus the swaying couple is what? Swaying couple is the movement of forces about the engine center line. Okay. Okay, next is the secondary balancing. About the primary balancing, we have seen. So it was stated the earlier that the secondary acceleration force is defined as the secondary force is equal to mr omega square cos 2 theta by the n. So its frequency is twice that the primary force, and the magnitude L by n the times the magnitude of the primary force. The expression can also be written as the mr 2 omega square cos 2 theta by the 4n. So that is the expression denotation for the secondary balancing. Now consider the two cranks of an engine as shown in this diagram, one actual one and the other the imaginary, with the following specifications. So in angular velocity, actual, that is the omega that we consider, and the imaginary, that is the 2 omega. Length of the crank, that is the r, in the imaginary r by 4n. Mass at the crank pin, that is the in actual m, in the imaginary m. Thus the when the actual crank has a turn through an angle theta is equal to omega t, the imaginary crank would have the turn and angle of the 2 theta is equal to 2 omega theta. So in diagram here says the m, that is the mass, the angle is produces, that is theta, and that is the mr omega square cos 2 theta, that is the primary force. This is the primary crank and that is the secondary crank, and that is the while the rotation in considering in the imaginary form, that is the 2 omega, and that is the mass, that is a consider r by 4n, and the angle is made the 2 theta. Okay. So centrifugal force induced in the imaginary crank is the mr 2 omega square by 4n, and the component of this force along the line of stroke is equal to mr 2 omega square by 4n cos 2 theta. Thus the effect of the secondary force is equivalent to an imaginary crank of the length r by 4n rotating at the double at the angular velocity and the twice of the engine speed. The imaginary crank consists with the actual at inner top dead center. At the other times, it makes an angle with the line of stroke equal to the twice that of the engine crank. The secondary couple about the reference plane is given by the multiplication of the secondary force with the distance L of the plane from the reference plane. So what are the effect of the imaginary and the line of stroke that we have identified. Then for the complete balancing of the reciprocating parts, from the foregoing the discussion, it is the concluded that for complete balancing of the reciprocating parts, the following conditions must be fulfilled. So what are the conditions for that? A primary forces must balance when the primary force the polygon is enclosed. Second is the primary couples must balance means the primary couple polygon is enclosed. Third is the secondary forces must balance means considered as the secondary force polygon is enclosed. For this the secondary couples must balance means the secondary couple polygon is enclosed. So usually it is not possible to satisfy all the above conditions fully for the multi-cylinder engine. Mostly some unbalanced force or couple would exist in the reciprocating engines. Okay, so this is the primary and secondary balancing in the locomotives, and if there is a little bit system is unbalanced, then the hammer blow, swaying couple, and these all are the terminology we have to prefer or study. Okay, so review this session and submit this ask questions on Google Classroom. Explain the effects of partial balancing in locomotives and explain the secondary balancing. Thank you. Happy learning.